high school diploma, because that's what you'll be getting in June from Galileo High School diploma. Then there's a question that asks, when you begin the 2013-14 school year, what grade level will you be in? You should always select never attended college / first year. We have students who ask, wait a minute, I'm taking college classes right now. I'm in concurrent enrollments, or I'm taking a college class at City College, or I have taken some college in the summer from Skyline College or College of San Mateo. What should I do? Well, for the sake of financial aid, you are considered never attended college. That's because you were a high school student until June. So for the sake of financial aid, you should always answer never attended college / first year for now. Of course, next year when you reapply for financial aid, you will indicate the box that says second year, sophomore, and then the year after that, you will click third year, junior, etc. Okay? One of the questions they will be asking is, what degree are you after? What degree do you seek? Well, if you're going to pursue a 4-year college, then you will indicate that you are going to pursue a first-year bachelor's degree. However, if you're going to attend a community college like San Francisco, City College, or Skyline, College of San Mateo, DeAnza, then you will indicate that you are pursuing an associate degree, general education / transfer program. Okay? And then there's a question that asks, will you have your first bachelor's degree before July 1st, 2012? Definitely you should say no on that question. I know that the FAFSA process is kind of complicated, and guess what? This is one of the questions that used to get people confused. And we do have students who actually answered yes. That's why we want to put it on the slide to say, when you see the question, be sure to answer no. That's because if you answer yes, they're not going to consider you for any Pell Grant or Cal Grant or Teach Grant. Okay? Now, why do you complete a financial aid? Why do you complete a FAFSA? That's because this is part of your financial aid application process. After you complete a FAFSA, you will submit the data to a federal processor. It's an agency authorized by the government to process your data and send it to the colleges. And you have to designate which college you want to send it to. The FAFSA allows up to 10 colleges at a time. And each one of the colleges that you indicate as you want to send a record to will get a copy of that. We have students who ask, well, I applied for 3 different UCs, 3 different state U's, and 2 independent colleges. Do I just have one record sent to one UC? The answer is no. Each school has an assigned 6-digit federal school code number. Just even among the UC, each one of our campuses has our own 6-digit federal school code. For example, UC San Francisco is 001319. Another UC has their own number as well. What's important is that every college that you apply for, you want a copy of the FAFSA to go to that college. That's because that college needs the FAFSA data in order to compute your financial aid eligibility. So if you apply to 3 different UCs, 3 different state U's, and 2 independent colleges, that means you want to send your FAFSA record to 8 different colleges, not 3. That's because among the UC, there's no central agency to pick your data. Okay? So you will send your information, you will authorize to send your information to each one of those schools so that once they get the information, they can compute your financial eligibility and send you a financial aid offer letter. When you go back to the school. Under the school section, they will be asking you for each college that you want to send your data to. Are you going to be living off campus, with parent, or on campus? That's really important to us who work in the financial aid office. That's because each school has separate budgets. When we build students' budget, what we have built is your tuition, your books and supplies, your living expenses, and your living expenses include rent, So that part is really important to us. If you live with your parents, we assume that your living expenses is lower because you are not paying rent. If you are living on campus, then there is a separate budget because dormitory, meal plan, that's a cost of living for you. You attend college and you have to pay for a dorm, right? And then if you plan to live off campus, well, you will be expected to pay rent, or at least we assume that you will be paying rent to live off campus on top of transportation, meal plan, etc. So for every college that you indicate you want a copy of your FAFSA record to send to, they ask you whether you will be living on campus, off campus, or with a parent. And you have to clearly indicate that. Some colleges will require that you stay in the dorm at least the first year. So for those colleges, you would just indicate on campus. Now, the part that's really important is that when you indicate that you're living on campus in any particular college, what you answer in the FAFSA does not mean you have applied for housing. This does not constitute your application for housing. Once you're admitted to the college, then you'll be given a letter in the mail or something by email that says, congratulations, you're admitted to our college, and if you want to live in our dormitory, here's a website to apply for our housing. So that is a separate process. Okay, this one I will go through really quickly. Most of the students here will be they will be dependent unless they're married, have a child, they're a veteran, or foster youth. They are an emancipated minor. They're under legal guardian, or they are at risk of being homeless. Other than that, most students here, when they're part of financial aid, they will be applying as a dependent student because one of the first things they ask you is, were you born before January 1st, 1990? And usually the answer is no. So that makes you dependent. Okay, next. What's considered parents? Basically, a biological parent or adoptive parent is considered parent. In the case of a divorce or separation, the parent that the child lives with the most the past 12 months, for example, if the parents are divorced and the student lived with father for 7 months and mother for 5 months in the previous 12 months, well, the student's considered under the father, the parent who the student lived with the most. So that parent will be expected to complete the FAFSA with his information or her information. Okay. And it could be a step-parent too, okay? A student should not provide parental information if there is a foster parent involved or a legal guardian involved, okay? When the student complete income information and when the parent complete their income information, there is a question that asks, your income data, is it from an actual return or is not from an actual return, or you're not going to file at all? So this is a really important question. I would say a lot of parents here have not filed because I did a cash college presentation on Saturday, and right before I did the presentation, I went to IRS website, and there's no 2012 tax form available yet. It is not available today. I just checked this morning. They just have made available the 2012 1040 form. But of course, a lot of parents might not be filing their tax return now. In fact, because the state of California, a lot of parents might not be filing their tax return until April 15. So I would say for when you apply for financial aid, you can use estimated information. What you can do is use your 2011 tax data, or you will just estimate as best as you can. And when you do that, you will indicate that your income data is your tax status is either will file, that means you have not filed yet, but you plan to file, or if you're not required to file a federal tax return and you're not going to do that, then we'll indicate you're not going to file. Okay? A lot of parents say, well, I have not filed yet, and the deadline is March 2nd. What should I do? I would say, for the sake of making a deadline, make sure you beat the March 2nd deadline. You can always use estimated income information and then go back after you file your tax return, and you will complete the FAFSA again with your new information. That's your prerogative. Sometimes schools do not require that you complete your your FAFSA with the real tax information. Some schools do, it's really up to the school, and you'll be notified by the school. We do have parents who use estimated income information, and then the school tells them to go back and recomplete it again after they file a tax return. And asset are the same as the parents, so just make sure you're in the right section of the FAFSA, because it will tell you clearly that this is the student section or the parent section. Tax return information is rounded off to the next whole number, and also be really, really careful about what question that they're asking, because we have students whose parents complete the FAFSA and they got their data mixed up, so instead of reporting their adjusted gross income, they report their federal income tax paid. So things like that could be tricky. That's why it's really important that you have someone help you through the FAFSA if you're not comfortable with doing it. And I understand that later on you get a chance to do your own FAFSA, so that will be really helpful in the computer lab. What's important when you complete a FAFSA is that in the instruction, they tell you, for example, the AGI, they will say, to ask for AGI, if your parents file a 1040, they should indicate number 37 of their 1040. Or if they file a 1048, that is another number. So that's really helpful to know when you complete a FAFSA, okay? And again, just repeat what I said before, pay attention to each question so that you're not confused and you don't answer the question incorrectly. When you complete a FAFSA, you may be asked to provide your asset information, and that will be given to you as you proceed. We have parents who say, do I have to report my asset? Well, when you complete a FAFSA, you might be given a choice. It will say, if you don't want to, you don't have to disclose your asset. If that's the case, then do not disclose your asset. Under certain circumstances, parents and students do not need to disclose their asset information. However, if you are required to disclose your asset information, what constitutes assets? Of course, money that you have in cash savings and checking accounts, business asset, investment asset, farm income, and like CDs, stocks, mutual funds, they're really considered your asset. However, money that you have in retirement, pension account, Roth IRA, 401, 403, any retirement account, life, insurance, they're not considered your assets. So that's really important to know. And then one of the things that the FAFSA asks is your home equity. If you live in the property, you do not need to disclose your home equity. Okay? However, if you have a property that you're renting out, or if you have a property that you don't live in, you just leave it vacant, you are supposed to disclose your home equity for that property as well. So once again, if you live in your own home, you do not include that home as your asset at all. Beginning February the 3rd of this year, parents are able to use IRS retrieval as part of their FAFSA process. But this gets a little tricky. That's because the deadline to complete your FAFSA for California schools is March 2nd. However, a lot of parents do not file their tax return until April 15th. So I would say at least at this point, complete your FAFSA using your estimated income information. The IRS retrieval is something you can use later. After you file your tax return, you can wait 3 weeks later and then authorize IRS to transfer your income information to the federal processor so that that information will be released to the school. Now, you have to wait 3 weeks if you mail your tax return to IRS. Or if you submit your tax return to IRS electronically, then you wait a week and then you use that system. But more information will be sent to you by the college your son or daughter is going to be applying to, because sometimes the college may send you information and say, please use the IRS retrieval, because we know that you're using estimated about to sign or electronically sign the FAFSA, you can use your PIN number to electronically sign your FAFSA, and you would send it to the federal processor. After you submit your information to the federal processor, about 3 days later, you get an email telling you that they received your information on what day and what time. That's your confirmation. That's really important, especially students who filed their FAFSA around March 2nd. You really need that confirmation, just in case in the future, if the school said you didn't apply on time, you could say, oh no, I did not apply on time, and here's my email. This is my confirmation. And so make sure you save your email. The other thing is, after you receive the first email, which confirms that they received your FAFSA, about 7 to 10 days later, you will get another email. And that email allows you to go in and look at your data. Because that email will allow you to look at what's called a federal student aid report. The federal student aid report includes every information, all the data that you submitted to the federal processor. Also, they've computed what's called the expected family contribution based on the income and asset data that you provide. And they also indicate what schools are going to get that information. So that's your chance to double check. Make sure all the data that you reported to them is correct. Make sure that the schools that you've reported to them are correct, so that information is not accidentally sent to the wrong school. So that's the second confirmation. And we have students who may apply for more than 10 different colleges. When you receive that confirmation allows you to ask school. So let's say you apply for 10 different colleges, 12 different colleges. So the first time you complete a FAFSA, you will list 10 colleges, and then when you receive the confirmation about 10 days later, you will use the confirmation to add 2 more colleges. Just you have to be aware that when you add the other two of the original schools will be deleted from the database. And then the confirmation that's sent to you will also indicate the expected family contribution and what is your estimated Pell Grant eligibility, what is your federal loan eligibility. That's really important too. Some students here might be applying for a private college. Some private colleges require that you complete what's called a CSS financial aid profile on top of the FAFSA. And usually that application asks for a lot of information, like timeshare, review of both, things like that. So they'll be asking a lot of detailed questions not in the original FAFSA. And they might have a separate deadline to complete that form. I would just say, if you're applying for a private college, make sure you go to the financial aid office of that school, find out what documents are required as part of the financial aid process, whether they require the CSS financial aid profile or not, or whether the FAFSA by itself is enough. Okay? Also, there is what's called the Western Undergraduate Exchange, MUE. It's a really good program that's available for certain schools in the state of California as well, other schools. It's like an exchange program. So that, for example, we have students from Idaho and Hawaii attending our school under this program, and their out-of-state tuition is covered. They don't have to worry about the out-of-state tuition, even though they're coming from another state. So that's something to explore if you're pursuing a college that's outside of California. Undocumented students, I'm not going to be really talking a lot about this because of the time. I want to give you guys enough time to do the survey and do the FAFSA. I would just say you should look at the website. It's www.calbreamact.org. Undocumented students may be eligible for financial aid. However, there is a separate process that you have to go through. If you have questions after looking at just more information and websites that are available to you. If you have any question while completing a FAFSA, then there's a 1-800 number that you can call, but I would say Galileo